Now, imagine facing two insurmountable obstacles, something you desperately need that it's completely out of reach, and a seemingly impossible problem that blocks your path. There is no way. Now what? We've all been there, that moment, that situation where no way seems like the only answer. But what if that only way is an invitation for something extraordinary? Hi, my name is Inga, and on my channel I share all the things that empowered me to transform my life after a tragic car accident where I lost both of my legs and my left arm was paralyzed and my entire life seemed completely destroyed. I share all the things that empowered me to empower you. That is my mission, that is my passion. And today I want to speak about the moments when there is no way, when it seems like there is no way for you to move forward. There is no way to achieve your goal. There is no way to receive the blessing that you might believe that the Lord has for you, but there is no way to achieve that blessing. And what do? What do? You can have faith, but there is no way to receive it. There's no way to experience that blessing. You know, I have gone through this, and I want to share with you what empowered me to receive that blessing, God's plan for my life, when I had faith, but it seemed impossible. You know, just recently, as I was reading the Bible, I was reminded of a very powerful truth learned firsthand. The approach that I will talk about transformed my life from tragedy and complete inability to perform the simplest daily tasks to becoming fully sufficient and creating a fulfilling life. And I hope my message will encourage you and give you insights for your own path. So I was reading Luke 5. You know that story when friends brought a paralyzed man to Jesus through the roof. There were so many people that they could not bring their friend through the door the same way people normally enter a house. There was no way to reach Jesus. And it's interesting that even though they had a firm faith and Jesus was within reach, there were still obstacles to receive the blessing. See, they faced two impossible facts. First, the friend was paralyzed, which is an incurable condition that only Jesus could heal. And then the crowd made it impossible to reach the Lord. Interesting that the fact that seemed impossible to enter the house did not discourage them. Their unwavering faith that Jesus could do the impossible ignited that fierce determination to take any and all actions necessary to find a way to reach Jesus. They carried the friend into the house through the roof. Now, can you imagine how difficult it was to bring a paralyzed man into a house through the roof? How much effort did it take? Now, two questions. Would those friends have made such an enormous effort if they didn't truly believe Jesus could heal him? I don't think so. If not their steadfast faith, the obstacle of the crowd would have overpowered them. Just remember yourself, like those times when you really believed that you will succeed, you really were convinced about something. You were ready to do whatever it takes to achieve it. You were ready to take action, right? But what about those times when you were doubting? You were not, I'm not sure. You were not confident it's going to work. Now, what level of determination did you have? Not very high, right? See, so the faith that it's possible, it's the driving force. It's something that determines whether we are ready to take action, to break through the obstacle, to do whatever it takes, because I believe. A lot of times when people face obstacles, they're quick to say, I think this obstacle is too big. The true question, do you really believe it's possible? Maybe the obstacle is not really that complicated, but the issue is that the person doesn't really believe that it's doable, that it can be reached, it can be done. And also, another point, would that man have received healing if his friends had given up when they saw that it was too crowded? It was too difficult to bring him, impossible to break through the crowd. If they just turned around and left? No. Interesting. See, even if they believed, but if they didn't act according to their faith and did not overcome the obstacle, their faith would not have the fruit. There would not be healing. We can have faith, but there are times when we must act according to our faith and do what is necessary to receive the blessing. Our faith has to work together with our actions, so it produces the fruit, so it becomes complete. We read that in James chapter 2. Then, when we act according to our faith, the faith will fulfill its purpose and bring glory to God. You know, the story reflects my story. When, after the car accident, I looked at my life, it seemed unthinkable to restore it. But interesting that the Lord instilled in me faith that God could restore my life, even if it seemed impossible. And this faith was ingrained in the core of my being. It gave me hope in the most hopeless circumstances. It gave me confidence to commit to the effort and pursue the goals to restore my life. And when I began taking steps, I faced obstacles that seemed impossible to overcome. My life's restoration seemed beyond my abilities. But just like those friends of a paralyzed man, my belief was so strong that it created this unstoppable determination to find a way. When there was no way, I called out to God, I talked to the Lord, and I looked for a way. I worked. I went beyond and above, even if it meant going on the roof. When doors were shut before me, I looked for another door. Each time I encountered an obstacle, I was determined to find a way to overcome that obstacle. I went beyond what seemed normal. I aimed for goals that seemed unattainable. And as I think of this story and reflect on my journey, I ask myself the same two questions. Would I have had the determination to aim for those goals if I didn't believe it was possible? Not at all. See, it's the unwavering faith that ignited fortitude and grit in me. And on the other hand, even with faith, would have I attained the transformation if I had not acted according to my faith? If I had not pursued my vision? Would I have experienced the Lord's wonderful plan for my life if I had given up when I came against the obstacles that made my inspiration impossible? Or when my journey became too hard and too painful to continue? Nope. See, in addition to faith, it required determination, hard work, tenacity to turn that impossible into reality. My faith combined with overcoming obstacles, that's what led me to breakthrough in my life. I want to encourage you to act according to your faith. First of all, seek the Lord, seek His direction for your path. Yes, there are times when we must be still and wait on the Lord. But when your faith prompts you to act, move forward. Don't allow doubts and difficulties to stop you. Yes, these obstacles might prevent you from receiving your blessing, but that doesn't mean you cannot have it. What it means that you must be an overcomer. This time you may have to go on the roof. If there is no way, find a way. If one way doesn't work, find another one. Do whatever it takes to break through the obstacles so you can receive the blessings that the Lord has prepared for you. I hope my message finds you exactly at the right moment. I really encourage you to take action. Your faith working with your action is your key to unlocking those blessings. With steadfast faith and your determination to overcome, the breakthrough that you're longing for isn't just possible, it's within the reach, just like Jesus was within the reach for those friends. God bless you, and I will see you again next time.